Go to Mass. If nine people claim to be different to each other and one claims to be the same, who's really different? Of course, assuming that being different is desirable. For my part, change, difference, development should always be accompanied by context. There is a sweet spot between change and yet retaining a set of core principles, values, etc. This is well illustrated in the industrial phenomenon known as product integrity. The product has to balance itself with an ever changing, developing marketplace and yet retain some core principles. If it were to abandon these principles, it would alienate a long, hard won consumer base. This base is what affords it stability to some degree or another. Example: Saab of Sweden, a now defunct automotive producer renowned in the 70s and 80s for building niche, low volume, premium automotive products, who competed successfully as an alternative to the increasing dominance of the German producers. Those cars were marketed successfully towards young, new money, highly educated yuppies to some degree, who were willing to pay a 30% premium over the top of the range mass produced in return for the brawny, sophisticated appeal these products advocated. The largest car producer of the Detroit Big Three, and indeed the world at that time, was General Motors. It and its American contemporaries were aware of two things. They had no dog fighting for market share in this burgeoning segment, and they knew they could not afford not to. Further to this, they knew the time was a critical factor when developing a premium product for two reasons. One, a corporation's mass-produced, profit-making brand has to effectively subsidize a loss-making premium brand, potentially over decades, until it can develop a loyal customer base. Two, at the rate the European premium brands were gaining what was now global market share was effectively at the expense of the top-of-the-range American mass-produced brands. Therefore, the mass-produced brands would be unviable short of the time it would take to develop a premium brand. In short, catastrophe loomed. Hence, General Motors had no choice but to go on an aggressive purchasing spree of anyone willing to sell their shares in European premium brands, a move we now know that was destructive to both General Motors and anyone who conglomerated with them. Initially, Ford took a similar path, however soon realised the error and reformed, culminating in a painful industrial enlightenment that not only secured Ford's position in the 21st century, but could be used as a blueprint for any other American manufacturer struggling in the global economy. This subject is worthy of discussion and will be explored in future videos. Chrysler, the last of the Detroit Big Three, made the worst possible decision. No decision, whether that be out of ignorance or other, is irrelevant. The net result is the same. Saab's integrity as a premium brand was gutted over the next few years under General Motors, who declared the umbrella of inefficient production methods, alienating its loyal customer base, who would no longer pay a premium for what eventually became a rebadged GM. The final death nail culminating in the infamous Subaru, a fatherless, faithless eunuch of a car whose only claim to fame is it routinely makes it into the top 10 worst cars of all time. Finally, life support was shut down in 2011 with the loss of 12,000 jobs, their fate being secured the moment Saab got into bed with a corporation that has little or no understanding of the dynamics of product integrity. It is easy to take the easy path, but unsustainable. It is hard to take the hard path, but it is sustainable. Moreover, a similar fate will await any society economy, culture, or country who forsakes its product integrity. I am not a practicing Christian, however, I would describe myself as culturally Christian, and I pay homage to a religion who had enough wisdom to put up the good fight during the industrial, scientific, and intellectual revolutions of past, while retaining the integrity of a civilization that could provide such progress, the sweet spot mentioned earlier. A religion who stood aside because logic, reason, and evidence demanded. Pity other religions of the world didn't follow suit, and wealth distribution would have been shared more liberally in the global economy over the past number of centuries. If you want to be different today, if you desire to be in a minority rather than the majority, if you want to join the ranks of the repressed over the repressors, don't dye your hair pink, buy a Che Guevara t-shirt. Rather do something bold, unconventional, controversial. Just go to Mass.